Hi, Wyn. Good
Hi.
morning. Welcome to What Helps in Times of War. And I wanted to say thank you for saying yes. And, my hope is that maybe this helps others. Maybe this even helps us at this time. So, my question to you is what helps in times of war?
Well, full disclosure, I've never been in a war zone. I do not know what that's like. However, that said, what I do know, and it's relatively recent for me to know this, that we as human beings have this amazing capacity for two things, maybe more than two. But these are the two that come to mind. The first one is that we have the amazing capacity in real time to deal with things. What's happening now, we have we rise to the occasion. We, as a species, this is, beyond the personal of you and the personal of me and the personal of other people, but as how well we're made, that we have access to ideas, we have superhuman strength in real time that can carry us. And I used to think that that was mythical, just not true, until I started looking into it and then seeing it in my own life and realize the absolute truth of that. And some people call that real time intelligence, wisdom, common sense, God.
Mm.
Lots of words that point to the same thing in my mind: spirit, the universe, that given its nature can never go away, doesn't have the day off, doesn't say, okay, I'm taking a tea break now, see you in an hour, and hope that whatever happens in the next hour, I'm not, I don't need to rely on it. It's just, you know, to me, even bigger than my ego, bigger than my intellect, far more powerful. So that's the first thing. And I always find that a reassuring thing. So another way of saying it, I don't have to worry about tomorrow because tomorrow will take care of tomorrow. And that's not always an easy thing to hear or an easy thing to accept because it can look like there's real danger. But what I know is when there is real and present danger, we tend to do as well as possible. What we're not so good at is in the present moment thinking about how I will best deal with an unknowable next hour or my tomorrows. But when the present moment meets that moment, we tend to do great. We're not great at thinking now about what should I do about an unknowable future. But we think we do. We think we're smart enough to figure that out. And that was a life changer for me. And the second thing is, now I said this was a capacity. But I think I'd say it a little differently here is that the way our minds work as humans, the capacity for us to imagine is so great that we feel things that aren't happening now. In other words, I can feel the threat of something that isn't here. I can feel the effects of something that happened yesterday. I can feel upset about what someone said to me 6 months ago, and they're not here. And it's not 6 months ago. I can feel the emotional pain of something that might have happened in my childhood. And it's never happening now. But I can feel as if it is. And that capacity is an amazing thing that can really cloud ourselves to make us think that it's a real time impact from the world that's causing me to feel my distress and stress. And yet, it's our capacity to imagine a future and a past that isn't happening. That I know has always helped me since I realized that and realized the truth of that. So I've said a lot. I'd love to hear what you think because I know we've talked about this since you and I first met a while ago.
Yeah, we met. I mean, physically in my mind is blanking. In not in Poland,
In Prague, Czech Republic, 2 years ago.
in Prague 2 years ago, while we were,
Yeah.
the beginning of this track of the war, and we have spoken about it. And when you say that, for I the first moment, when I asked you the question, what I can feel is that I'm sitting in presence of presence. I can feel that, and in this calmness, my mind, right, wants to say, but in the time of war, what do we do then? And what I know that's true for myself, when I start imagining what will happen, or what will I do when, or even what would I buy when I get to the supermarket, which sounds superficial. But when I find myself asking myself, what would I do when? That's the first moment where I'm like, oh, I'm far away from myself. And I want to kind of, so the question I had, and I think that you answered it. And I'm just going to say, before I ask you the question, is that for whoever's listening, the simplicity of what Wyn is pointing to, stay with it. Don't let it turn you off. Because what that simplicity did for me is healed me from things that I was told there's no healing from. So if, like you said, we have this ability to imagine things and then we feel it. So when we start imagining that's too simple for me, when I listen to that feeling that I'm sitting in with you right now, there's this sense of truth that I can feel. And I learn to trust that more than what my mind thinks about what's going on right now. So my question is just to sharpen your the way you see it. What covers us as human beings from the ability to tap into our wisdom, our connection with ourselves? Or you said I didn't experience being in a war zone, but did you ever have an internal war?
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
what
I was
covers?
brilliant at that.
Oh,
I was absolutely superb at having internal wars. And look, truth be known, I have them now. They just feel really different than they used to. I mean, you and I have talked over the years, right? Including that time in person in Prague a few years ago, that I would have bouts of depression since I can remember, since I was really young. And before, during, and after those bouts of depression, the conversations I would have in my own head about me were pretty horrible. I mean, a friend of mine said once after I said what's on my mind, and she said to me, "Hey, if you talk to your friends the way you talk to yourself, you wouldn't have any friends." Because I was very much, to your phrase, at war with myself, and I would talk to myself in a very mean and unkind way. But here's what I didn't realize that I do now in hindsight, and I'm really grateful to have learned this. I was giving myself a hard time for being human. And that's such a common thing. I mean, this weekend, I'm working with somebody on Zoom. We had our first session yesterday, and we're working all day together today and tomorrow. And I've got 20 coaches who have signed up to watch to learn for their own development. And one thing that is on the client's mind is how differently they are seeing themselves compared to how they see everybody else. They're willing to be forgiving for everyone else's humanity, but when it comes to themselves, they're not.
Yeah.
That was me, and sometimes it is, and then thankfully I wake up to it. Yeah, I'll wake up to it and go, oh, there I go again, giving myself a hard time for being a human being. Mm, I love spending time in a quiet mind, getting present, using that phrase that you said earlier on, in the garden watching nature. And I'm pretty sure that there's not an animal or a plant that I look at in my garden and beyond it into the trees that ever gives itself a hard time for being how it is. I'm pretty sure a squirrel has never given itself a hard time for having a fluffy tail, or a pigeon giving itself a hard time for being gray. I'm pretty sure that that doesn't happen. It's kind of something that our amazing capacity to imagine and how sophisticated our brains are and our intellects are, that we have the capacity to do that. And then to see that, yeah, that's made up, completely made up, that we've put ourselves on a pedestal of trying to be perfect as opposed to seeing our humanity.
That's amazing. So first, you're right. I didn't realize it was this weekend. So first, I'm fascinated by the way you said yes so quickly, and you have like in mind. It's like, oh, you have such a full day, but you have 15 minutes,
Yeah,
and I think that's so powerful because what I realized in hindsight that this time around, I realized that because there are missiles being thrown at us or me, or I have to wake up in the middle of the night and go to the shelter, or find a safe space, that I had a belief and a thought that if there's a war going on, I have to be under pressure and I have to be anxious. And last time around, 2 years ago, I wasn't anxious, but I didn't understand why. I was just like, oh, because I just don't think about it. No, I saw that actually what helps in war is to get as present as possible. When I say get present, I don't mean doing something, I mean just being in life, in my life right now. And if something happens, I mean, if a siren goes off right now, I'll be like, thank you very much, Wyn. That was amazing. We'll catch up later. But it doesn't mean that I have to put myself in a state of fear of what will happen if and where life will go in a week. So, um, do you want to say any last words or something to leave our audience with?
well, I think that what you've just said is very profound, is that when I'm here now, that's the best I can ever be, is here now. And my here in 5 minutes' time, if a siren goes off and if I then need to go to the shelter, will take care of itself in 5 minutes' time. Okay, yeah, there's some preparation of logistics that may happen. I mean, I remember talking to you and some of your friends and lots of people in other parts of the world in war zones, that there's some preparation that takes care of itself too. And having the pressure and the stress and the anxiety over it never helps, but it looks like it does. So I want to honor you for being here and doing this for people wherever they are, and for you wherever you are listening to this.
Thank you, and thank you so much.